Welcome to Talk Oxford, the show which gets you talking. I'm Eva Ahmed. Well, today on Talk Oxford I'm joined by Neil Anderson, events organiser extraordinaire, and Dennis Harrison, who's owner of the Albion Beatnik bookstore in Jericho. Hi there.
Hello.
Hello. Well, Neil, you've been a guest on the show a couple of times, and you like to come in and bring us up to date on what's happening on the Oxfordshire scene. So, do you want to give us
Which scene are you talking about?
Well, the social scene, you
Okay,
know,
just checking.
because it's something called Let's Meet Up. Meetups, they're called, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you've already unnerved me slightly when you said arts organiser extraordinaire. I thought you were going to stop at X, as in I've retired, but I haven't quite retired yet.
Right.
So I'm not an ex-arts organiser.
Okay, maybe we'll come back to that intriguing comment in a moment. Dennis, how long have you been running this famous bookstore in Jericho? How many years?
About 8 years now, I think.
Yeah, because everybody I've spoken to has heard of it. Is it because maybe I mean, it's a lovely shop, but is it also because the name is so extraordinary? How did you come up with such a name?
Well, it alliterates AB, Albion, Old English, Beatnik, a modern American constructed word.
ABC?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to come up with it? It's very clever.
About 2 minutes.
You should be a copywriter.
I was going to call it the Anglican Beatnik, but then I thought people would be put off by the religious overtone.
Yes, okay. But it's a really nice place because it's a cafe as well, isn't it? Yeah. So it's sort of a bit like the store in Friends. I don't know if you remember that series years ago in Seattle.
It doesn't have a television.
Oh, he doesn't have a television.
Yeah.
Okay, how terribly modern. Is that modern? Anyway, you're probably busy reading a lot and maybe writing, but we'll find out more about that as well from you later on. So Neil, you were alluding then to some
yes.
movement in the social arts, the events organising that you're involved with?
Yeah, we're slowly winding things up. Winding things down.
Oh, right.
Yeah, winding up tonight on the programme, winding down the arts group.
Okay.
But no, there's a few things coming up which I'd like to talk about.
Yeah.
Some of which we're involved in, others which I've heard about, which sound interesting.
Okay.
Shall I give you a whistle-stop tour? What's coming up?
Is Dennis involved with any of these? Can he interject?
Is. Yeah, one or two of them.
Okay,
I think
so we'll have a two-way, three-way dialogue, maybe. Okay.
Right, well, just to get the sort of forthcoming stuff out of the way, this Saturday we've got Oxford Playwrights doing 7 short plays at the Friends Meeting House in Oxford. 7 short plays, but they are short, so you don't have to worry about falling asleep and snoring in the wrong places. And that's £7, £6 if you're in the Oxford Arts Group, though. So
are they all written by members of
yes, they are,
group?
But they put them forward to some sort of committee. I think it's an independent committee, and they choose the best. I don't know how many playwrights there are in the group, probably 30 or 40, but they all submit plays, and the best 6 or 7 are chosen. And they use members of the Oxford Actors Network, which is a semi-professional organisation, pretty high standard. So I've been to quite a few of their evenings, and they're always quite enjoyable. No, very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Some more enjoyable than others.
Is this one that you're involved with, Dennis?
That isn't, no.
That isn't, right, okay. You're keeping your powder dry. Yes.
Okay. If you want to go over to Dennis for a bit, because I've got quite a few.
Oh, okay. So. All right, so Dennis, why did you start the bookstore, and what changes have you noticed over the past 7 years? I think you said that you've been there.
Yeah, I've always had bookshops all my life, but I guess I felt that they were going to be changing, so having a bookshop in a suburban middle-class area wasn't such a good idea, so I wanted to move to a city, an exciting city. So if I earn pocket money, it's really by putting on evening events. So during term time, I'd have something on every evening in the shop, whether it's jazz or poetry, writing groups, whatever.
But you say during term time, is that because most of the people who go in are students?
No, not really. It's just that students seem to create kerfuffle, so the movement in their wake keeps Oxford alive. As soon as they're gone, everyone seems to turn into zombies, I think, in Oxford.
Gosh, that makes me feel a bit bad, because I often say to my family, "Oh, isn't it nice now?
Yeah, it's nice
now
and quiet,
term time's over. It's nice and quiet, and you can park, and the streets aren't full." That makes me sound really like a boring old person, but I can see what you mean, though. The contrast, it's quite strong, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's similar in other universities' towns. I guess it must be.
Brighton, I guess, perhaps not quite so marked as an effect. But
Is
yeah,
that where you went to university?
it was, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
yes.
How did I guess? Okay.
I have no idea.
All right. So shall we go to your next topic then?
Okay, so how do you fancy whiskey for breakfast?
Oh no, I
In
don't
the
like
evening.
whiskey
This
at any
it's in
time of the day.
evening. Okay. Well, there's a comedy improv group called Whiskey for Breakfast, and they're doing something at East Oxford Community Centre. That's next Friday, 7 o'clock. Wouldn't usually mention comedy because it's not something particularly interests me, but it features Sir Dominic Heaney, who is, as I think, what's his name? John McCarthy said of Brian Keenan when they were released from 4 years of captivity in Lebanon.
Yeah.
He's the fiercest, funniest, and finest of fellows. So well worth seeing. And I think it's only like £5 or something.
Yeah.
And then on the Saturday the 5th of December, 2 competing events. During the day at South Oxford Community Centre, there's a Christmas Festival of Art, which includes life drawing teaching, songwriting workshops, and in the evening, the Oxford Improvisers, who we were talking about on the way here, feature Kezia Decote, who's a fantastic pianist from Brazil, and Bruno Guastalla, who runs Oxford Violins, which is a great shop to go to. And he's a cellist of an inventive kind, so it should be quite interesting.
And South Oxfordshire, where is the venue
South
then?
Oxford, that is.
Okay.
Just off the Abingdon Road.
Right.
It's quite a big community centre.
Okay. I'm very impressed by the way Neil just rattles these events off by memory. You're obviously very sort of deeply embedded in the events mindset. But how do you find your particular guests, Dennis, and what sort do you have?
Well, it's a mixture of my programming, so I have jazz every 2 weeks during term time, so I would program that. Occasionally I ask poets to come along, but more often than not people approach me and want to put something on.
Okay. And is it a good money spinner compared to selling books?
I find it so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the only person who makes money out of poetry in the United Kingdom. So.
You should have that as a sort of emblazoned on the window maybe. But do people still, they never lost that sort of wonderment of going into a bookstore and browsing, or has Amazon, for example, made a big inroads into
Oh yeah,
people
Amazon,
like you?
particularly counterintuitively in a place like Oxford, which is full of people just stampeding through, so they don't want to leave a footprint, they don't want possessions. So yeah, it's difficult to persuade people to buy books in Oxford, but no, people still relate to books. They're very aspirational objects. You don't get that with a Kindle.
Yeah.
You don't look at your bookshelf, or rather you don't look at your Kindle in the same way that you look at your bookshelf, which is full of your past and all that you wanted to be and wanted to read.
Yeah.
You keep books that you've never bought, that you've never read,
Yeah.
for instance.
Yes. Yeah, when I go on holiday and there's often a library in a hotel, there are shelves of books that people have left, I always think, gosh, I find it so hard to throw books away, but yeah, obviously people do. And your next item, Neil. Let's see how your memory is going to hold out these ones that you...
blind side there. All right, so on the same day as the Christmas Art Festival in South Oxford, not Oxfordshire, Oxford, there's... what I was going to do actually is change tack slightly and talk about meetup groups.
Yeah, because I
just for a
mentioned that at the
moment.
beginning, because it's a website, isn't it?
It's a website which, each website caters for different interests around which people like to meet up, socialise and go and see events or do activities. So I was going to give you my sort of top 5 meetups of the year, because I like doing lists. And I know it's a bit early for Christmas, so it's a meetup list. Top 5 would be Oxford Arts Group, number 1. Number 2 would be...
No personal preference, favouritism there.
Did you guess I might choose them? Oxford Indie Social Group. Why I've chosen these groups, I know the organisers and I know they're good, and I know that they're quite passionate about what they do, and they create quite a good environment. So if anybody out there has not heard of Meetup, and there must be quite a few people, it's well worth investigating. Just do meetup.com and put in Oxford or wherever you live, and you'll see probably hundreds of different meetup groups. So if you want more friends, you haven't got any friends, or your friends don't like you, you can go and get some new ones. So yeah, Oxford Indie Social Group, which in a way, and I'm not sure they'll appreciate me for saying this, but it's a kind of like a younger version of Oxford Arts Group.
Mm-hmm.
They go and see a lot of live music events, but they also do other things as well. It's run by Emma Ayres, and she's very passionate and enthusiastic about what she does, so they're well worth checking out if you're under 40. And then there's Wild About Oxford, which is quite a new group, and it's subtitled for budding Chris Packhams. Now, Dennis doesn't have a TV. I do, but I don't watch wildlife programmes very much. But I believe he's something to do with like Bill Oddie type person.
Yeah, he's a BBC presenter of wildlife shows with Michaela Strachan. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the guy who runs it, Ian Dykes, again is really enthusiastic. He's a very nice guy, and they do a lot of get out in the countryside sort of events. But I guess they're probably a little bit. They'd like to think of themselves, and probably are a little bit. Less geeky is the wrong word, but a little bit less like the traditional image of somebody who tweets or twitters or in the old sense of the words, and watches birds. So they're good. Also, Oxford on Board for board game enthusiasts. Extremely friendly group run by Max Gilbert, and they just meet up in cafes around Oxford and play board games, which is something I haven't done for quite a long time. What about you or Dennis?
No.
Okay.
I used to love they're so time consuming, but I love them. But I think when you get older you feel like you have less time for things like that, which is a pity, because you do it and maybe once a year at Christmas you think, wow, this is brilliant.
Yeah, you can get into
games
it.
More.
I would say they take less time to read than a book, but that wouldn't be very politic.
Wouldn't be very fair to Dennis, no.
Oh, and funny enough, the Oxford Book Group, just to sort of balance things out a bit, they're one of the biggest, probably the biggest meet-up group in Oxford. They meet once a month, read a book, and discuss it. And I've only been once, but they were great. It was just a great atmosphere there.
Brilliant. We can find out more, and from Dennis as well, in just a minute, because it is time for a break now. When we come back, as I say, we'll be finding out more about Neil and Dennis and what it is about Oxfordshire that particularly that they like so much. We want to hear what you think too, so do get in touch with us by email at talk@that'soxford.com and via Twitter @that'soxfordtv, and you can find us on Facebook. See you shortly.